A planned pregnancy turned my husband into a monster. It feels like a cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, it was such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy bettering myself, figuring out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye on all the red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at a work event, and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma and let him know that if we were going to date, that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years. Engaged for 1 and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2 and, well, started trying. It didn't take long, and here I am 6 months pregnant, still working, have swollen ankles, and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly, probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I'm wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight. I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He's staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce, saying after the pregnancy is over, we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to DoorDash some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Am I wrong for telling my cousin that the baby name she picked is an insult? I, 25 female, attended my cousin Ellie's 27 female baby shower and gender reveal party. It was a lovely event and things went off without a hitch. When the baby's gender was revealed, she's having a boy, Ellie also told everyone about the name that she and her husband had picked. I thought nothing of it as the name isn't anything unique or strange in any way. Her now last name is a bit unique, but nothing that would attract attention or ridicule. She hadn't told me prior to the baby shower which names they were thinking of. After the baby shower, I went home to my boyfriend and I's apartment and told him about the baby's name and gender. He laughed. When he stopped, he explained that the baby's first and last name, when said together, is an insult in another language. When I asked him for the translation, he got his phone and said it would probably be better to show me. He called one of his friends and he was put on loudspeaker. His friend hadn't even said hello when he said the baby's name. The reaction was instant. They all started shouting and cussing him out, and all while my boyfriend is laughing his butt off. I got the phone and told them the situation, asking what the names meant. I knew all the people who were there. They also burst out laughing. When they stopped, they apologized, cussed my boyfriend out again, and explained the insult and its very severity. When they stopped, they apologized, cussed my boyfriend out again, and explained the insult and its severity. It is a very big insult in a language that they speak, which is rare here, but is a major language in a specific part of the world. When the names are put together, it's the kind of insult that can immediately start fights. It's not said as 2 separate words, but it's one word. Even when you split it up, it's still obvious that it's a particular insult. It basically talks about one person's mother's private parts. They all suggested that I tell my cousin because while there's no guarantee that the baby will ever meet someone who speaks the language, it would be better to at least inform Ellie. On Sunday, my boyfriend and I went to go see her with her favorite snacks, hoping that it would at least help put her in a better state of mind. We chatted and had fun, and after a while, when we saw that she was happy, we, as gently as possible, explained that the baby's name is an insult and its meaning. She was absolutely livid. Ellie yelled at us, saying that we were trying to ruin the name she had picked out and called me spiteful and jealous. We tried to explain that we meant no harm or disrespect, but she wouldn't hear us out and told us to leave. Shortly after, my family and several friends started messaging me saying I was cruel for upsetting Ellie. I don't think we did anything wrong, but the backlash is a lot. Am I the asshole?
Am I in the wrong for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she secretly dated and got engaged to my ex-fiance? I, 28 female, was engaged to my ex-fiance, Mike, 30 male, for 2 years. We were together for 5 years in total, and we were supposed to get married last summer. About 3 months before our wedding, I found out that he had been cheating on me with someone else. It was devastating, and I called off the wedding immediately. Mike moved away shortly after we broke up, and I thought that was the end of it. I was heartbroken, but I slowly started to move on with my life. Fast forward to last month. I get a call from my younger sister, Lily, 25 female, saying she has exciting news and wants me to come over to our parents' house for dinner to share it. When I arrived, Lily and my parents were all smiles, and she drops a bombshell. She's engaged to Mike. My head is spinning. I felt like I was going to pass out. Lily and Mike had been secretly dating for the past year, and now they were engaged. My parents had known about it for months, but decided to keep it from me to protect my feelings. They actually thought I'd be happy for them eventually. Lily tried to justify it by saying that she and Mike fell in love after our breakup and that their relationship is meant to be. She insisted that they didn't start dating until after we were officially over. Since then, my parents and Lily have been bombarding me with calls and texts, calling me selfish and saying I'm overreacting. But I felt betrayed on so many levels. I told them all that I wanted nothing to do with their wedding and stormed out. They claim that true love is rare and I should support Lily's happiness. Now the wedding is in a few months and the pressure is on. My parents have even threatened to cut me off financially if I don't attend. Some friends think that I should go to keep the peace and show that I'm over it, while others are appalled and say I have every right to be angry and to stay away. To add insult to injury, Lily recently asked if I would be her maid of honor, claiming that she wants to mend our relationship. This request has left me torn. I don't want to ruin our family dynamic further, but I just can't shake the hurt and betrayal that I feel. So, am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for telling my husband's entitled wannabe work wife to F off after she told me that I was trying to unalive my unborn child? For context, I, 30 female, and my husband, 30 male, are having a baby. I'm 8.5 months pregnant currently, so I'm not working for obvious reasons. But in my job, I earn significantly more than my husband. My husband works at a small company, and I really get on with most of his coworkers, apart from his one work wife, 24 female. I say work wife like that because he doesn't call her this despite her desperately trying to get this title. She's degraded me to him before. Her main complaint being, when I was working, I work too much and I'm clearly trying to emasculate him, which he very quickly shut down. Now that I'm pregnant and not working, she's voiced concern to him that I look too thin for a pregnant woman. I'm a healthy weight. She's just a larger woman, and I assume, while not trying to be egotistical, that she felt a bit jealous, probably hoping that I would get bigger than her during pregnancy. And her other concern being that I'm too old to be pregnant. She said both of these in creepy, subtle ways as to not look like the outright bad guy. Anyway, on to the incident. My husband's boss was having a garden party to which I was invited. During this event, my husband was having a glass of gin and tonic, one of my favorite drinks. He remarked to me that it was particularly good. I took his glass to take a small sip. I could see work wife's beady eyes on me as I handed the glass back. She then came rushing up to tell us about the dangers of fetal alcohol syndrome. I explained I just had a small sip and it's really no harm at all. But this wasn't enough for her just to leave it. She continued to go on about how worried she is, to which my husband defended me, repeating that it only had a tiny bit and there really is no harm. She seemed to be offended by this response and turned to me and said if I want to unalive my baby, I should just terminate. My husband and those in earshot were stunned by this. Before I could think about what to do, I instantly told her to F off and mind her own business. Luckily, no one heard, and she sort of just looked uncomfortable and left shortly afterwards. Following this very mild response, in my opinion, and in the opinion of my husband and others, I've been told she sent my husband 7 emails calling me and him every name imaginable and tried to call 40 plus times, leaving a variety of insane voicemails. My husband has reported this to HR, and she resigned shortly after. Despite this, she won't stop calling and leaving abusive messages. We've tried blocking her, but she just makes a new account. Her persistence makes me worried about her mental well-being, and I feel like a bit of an a-hole for pushing this clearly disturbed woman over the edge. So, am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for suspecting that my wife is doing something awful at her friend's bachelorette week in Mexico? She spent virtually zero money and took no pictures. My wife went to Mexico last week for her friend's bachelorette party, and aside from the plane ticket, the hotel, and the first day's food and drinks, she didn't spend a penny all week. I mean, on the credit card, it's clear as day that on Monday up until about 9 p.m., she was buying dinner, stuff at the hotel shop, drinks at the bar, souvenirs, and then at 9 p.m., she didn't spend another cent the entire week until she was at her layover airport in Dallas. She says it's because her friend took over and paid for everything. I guess this is plausible, but it's still giving me a funny feeling. What's worse is that my wife is a person who posts her entire life on Instagram and TikTok. Mostly Instagram. But if she does anything from get a latte to picking the kids up at school, she'll post it either as a picture or as a story. The last thing she posted on TikTok was at the trend of people jumping into their vacation from the airport, and after that, her social media is blank. I was kind of keeping an eye on it because I was excited for her to go on the trip, and again, I guess it's plausible, but it gives me a funny feeling. When she got home, I said I can't wait to see all the pics that she took, and she really blew me off and said that she just didn't feel like taking pics that week. She's also been incredibly distant, and last night she said she just felt like sleeping on the couch because the AC hits better. This is 100% true, but I swear I heard her talking on the phone in the middle of the night. When I got up to check on her, I accidentally tripped over the dog and made a huge racket, so when I got downstairs, she appeared to be asleep. I brought all this up this morning and said that I'm not accusing her of anything, but all this put together is making me feel uneasy. She said that you're a major effing asshole for bringing this up on her first day back at work. I said I wasn't trying to pry, just communicating with her, and she said, your communication is prying and I'm not discussing this with you ever again. She then took the kids to summer camp and left. On Saturday, November 3rd, 2022, 6 roommates attending the University of Idaho set out for a night out of partying and fun, but only 2 of them would live by the next morning. Lifelong best friends Madison Mogan and Kaylee Goncalves went out to the Corner Club pub in Moscow, Idaho, while Ethan Chapin and Zena Cornodal, who were dating, went to Sigma Chi House. Around 1:30 in the morning, the girls are seen at the taco truck getting some food and then getting a ride home. Both parties arrive back at their 3-level house on King Road around 2 in the morning. At 4 a.m., a DoorDash order is dropped off for Cornodal. At around the same time, one of the surviving roommates said she woke up and heard Goncalves in the room playing with her dog. A short time after, the roommate said that she heard someone she thought was Goncalves saying, "There's someone here." but that could have been Kernodle on her phone because records show that she was on TikTok at 4:12 in the morning. The roommate stated that she looked out of her bedroom but didn't see anything, and she did it a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. Then she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Then she saw a man in black clothes and a mask walking past her. She stood frozen and in shock, as she didn't recognize the man who walked toward the house's sliding glass door. At about 4:17 in the morning, a security camera less than 50 feet from Kernodle's room picked up sounds of a barking dog and distorted audio of what sounds like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. The next day at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call is placed to police for assistance with an unconscious person. Responding officers would then find 4 victims deceased. Autopsies conducted on the bodies determined that all victims were stabbed to death. The 4 students were probably asleep when they were attacked, but some had defensive wounds. After the bodies were discovered, authorities reviewed the surveillance video and saw a white Hyundai Elantra go by the victim's house 3 times before entering the area for a 4th time at 4:04 a.m. When police traced the car, they found it belonged to a man named Brian Koberger. They tracked his phone, which showed him heading to Moscow before the attack, but his phone was off from 2:47 a.m. to 4:48 a.m., which they believed to be consistent with him trying to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide. He also returned to the area of the house where the 4 students were killed just after 9 a.m., about 5 hours after the murders based on phone records. His phone was near the victim's house at least 12 times before the murders, and almost all of them being late night or early morning. Police stopped Koberger on December 15, 2022 for traffic violations as him and his father were taking a pre-planned road trip in the white Hyundai Elantra to the family's Pennsylvania home. At the time, they didn't have enough evidence to bring him in. DNA from the suspect was recovered on the knife sheath left on the victim's bed. On December 27th, police recovered trash from Koberger's parents' house in Pennsylvania, and a lab determined that the DNA from the trash was the father of the person who left the DNA on the knife sheath. A few days later, on December 30th, Koberger was arrested in Pennsylvania. In the following months, he was extradited back to Idaho to face charges. However, he pled not guilty. There is no connection between him and the victims, and he hasn't been verbal about any of his actions. His defense claims that there is a lack of evidence from any victims on Koberger's clothes, house, or car, and that it's a coincidence that he was near the house that night as he often would go on late-night drives. The judge has set the trial for June 2025, so for now we wait, as much of the prosecutor's evidence is still hidden from the public.